Welcome to our channel. Let's uncover the life story of Malala Yousafzai, a name that echoes through the corridors of history as a beacon of courage and defiance. Picture this: a 15-year-old girl boarding a school bus in Pakistan, unaware that in mere moments, her life would change forever. A single gunshot would not silence her voice but amplify it across the globe, transforming a young activist into the youngest Nobel Prize laureate in history. This is the extraordinary journey of a girl who dared to dream of education in a world that tried to deny her that right. Born on July 12, 1997, in the picturesque Swat Valley of Pakistan, Malala Yousafzai entered a world where the mountains stood tall and proud, much like the spirit she would later embody. Her birthplace, once called the Switzerland of Pakistan, was a region renowned for its natural beauty and progressive attitudes toward education. Her father, Ziauddin Yousafzai, was no ordinary man. He was an educator, a poet, and a passionate advocate for learning who ran a chain of schools. Her mother, Torpekai Yousafzai, though not formally educated herself, understood the transformative power of knowledge and supported her daughter's dreams unconditionally. The Yousafzai household was filled with discussions about education, poetry, and social justice. Ziauddin would often tell his daughter stories of great leaders and reformers, planting seeds of activism in her young mind. Unlike many families in the region, the Yousafzais celebrated Malala's birth with the same joy typically reserved for sons. Her name, inspired by Malala of Maiwand, a legendary Afghan folk heroine, seemed prophetic. She was destined to become a warrior for justice. Growing up in Swat, Malala was surrounded by the beauty of nature and the warmth of a close-knit community. She excelled in her studies, often competing with boys in her class and consistently ranking at the top. Her childhood was filled with typical moments: playing with friends, studying late into the night, and dreaming of becoming a doctor. However, the shadow of extremism was slowly creeping across her beloved valley. The turning point came when Malala was just 10 years old. The Taliban began gaining control over Swat, implementing their harsh interpretation of Islamic law. Schools for girls were being bombed and burned. The sounds of explosions became a terrifying soundtrack to daily life. Education, the cornerstone of Malala's world, was under attack. This was when her journey from a curious schoolgirl to a global advocate began. In 2009, at merely 11 years old, Malala began writing a blog for BBC Urdu under the pseudonym Gul Makai. Her words painted a vivid picture of life under Taliban rule: the fear, the restrictions, the desperate desire to learn. She wrote about empty desks in classrooms, about girls hiding their books under their clothing, about the fundamental right to education being stripped away. Her eloquent and brave accounts caught international attention, but they also made her a target. Her activism grew bolder as she spoke at local events and gave interviews to international media. She appeared in documentaries, her face becoming synonymous with the fight for girls' education. The Taliban's threats against her family intensified, but Malala refused to be silenced. She continued attending school, continued speaking out, driven by an unwavering belief that education was not a privilege but a right. Then came October 9, 2012, a date that would forever change the course of her life and the global conversation about girls' education. As Malala sat in her school bus, chatting with friends about an upcoming exam, a masked gunman boarded the vehicle. He called out her name, and when she was identified, he fired 3 shots. One bullet struck her in the head, traveling through her skull and settling in her shoulder. The attack was meant to silence her forever, but instead, it amplified her voice to unprecedented levels. The assassination attempt sparked international outrage and support. Malala was airlifted to Birmingham, England, where she underwent multiple surgeries and a long rehabilitation process. The world watched and prayed as this young girl fought for her life. Her recovery was nothing short of miraculous, but more importantly, her spirit remained unbroken. Upon her recovery, Malala's platform expanded exponentially. She addressed the United Nations on her 16th birthday, declaring that the terrorists thought they could silence her, but they had failed. Her speech was watched by millions, and her message resonated across continents. She established the Malala Fund, dedicated to advocating for girls' education worldwide, particularly in developing countries where cultural and economic barriers prevent girls from attending school. In 2014, at just 17 years old, Malala became the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, sharing the honor with Indian child rights activist Kailash Satyarthi. The recognition was not just for her individual courage, but for representing millions of girls denied education worldwide. Her acceptance speech moved hearts globally, as she spoke not with bitterness but with hope and determination to create change. Malala's influence extends far beyond awards and recognition. She has authored several books, including her memoir, I Am Malala, which became an international bestseller. Her story has inspired countless individuals to stand up for their beliefs and has brought unprecedented attention to the global education crisis. She has met with world leaders, from Barack Obama to various heads of state, using her platform to advocate for policy changes that support girls' education. Her personal life reflects the same values she advocates publicly. In 2021, she married Asir Malik, a former cricket player and current manager for the Pakistan Cricket Board. Their relationship, built on mutual respect and shared values, represents the progressive ideals she champions. Despite her global fame, Malala has remained grounded, continuing her education and earning a degree in politics, philosophy, and economics from Oxford University. Currently, Malala's net worth is estimated at approximately $5 million, derived from her book sales, speaking engagements, and various media projects. However, her wealth is not measured in monetary terms, but in the impact she has made. Through the Malala Fund, she has helped fund education projects in countries like Nigeria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Brazil, directly impacting thousands of girls' lives. Her advocacy work continues to evolve, addressing not just access to education, but quality education, safe learning environments, and the intersection of education with other social issues. She has produced content for various platforms, including a documentary series and partnerships with major streaming services, using modern media to reach younger audiences. The controversies surrounding Malala are minimal but noteworthy. Some critics in Pakistan have questioned her motives, suggesting she has been used as a tool by Western powers. Others have criticized her for not speaking out more forcefully against Western military interventions in Muslim countries. However, these criticisms pale in comparison to the overwhelming support and admiration she receives globally. Her story continues to inspire new generations of activists and advocates. She has shown that age is no barrier to making a difference, that courage can emerge from the most challenging circumstances, and that education truly is the most powerful weapon for changing the world. What can we learn from Malala Yousafzai's journey? Her story teaches us that true strength lies not in physical power, but in the courage to stand up for what is right, even when faced with life-threatening consequences. She demonstrates that one voice, when raised with conviction and purpose, can echo across the world and inspire millions. Her journey reminds us that education is not just about personal advancement, but about creating a more just and equitable world for all. Malala's legacy is still being written, but her impact is already immeasurable. She has transformed from a victim of violence into a symbol of hope, from a local activist into a global icon, and from a young girl with dreams into a woman making those dreams reality for others. If you enjoyed this journey through the remarkable life of Malala Yousafzai, like, comment, and subscribe for more legendary life paths, only on CelebPath.